Welcome to this Tutor to You Sociology topic video on crime in contemporary society, focusing on the reasons for global crime. One of the main reasons for the increase in global crimes relates to the changes in society that have occurred as a result of globalisation. And this has led to increased volumes of international crime and different types of crime. Some of the features of globalisation that have made crime easier to commit include increased air travel, resulting in more people moving through ports and airports, making trafficking easier. Increased cultural homogeneity, increasing the levels of inequality in societies and introducing relative deprivation. The deregulation of financial markets has led to more instances of money laundering, and the expansion of free trade has led to more corporate and green crimes. And advances in information technology, which both make us more aware of things like state crime and have also increased the amount of cybercrime in society. Now, sociologists have taken different views on the process of globalisation, but more pessimistic globalists have described some of the negative effects of globalisation on society through criminal activities. Taylor suggested that the expansion of capitalism through free trade agreements and the expansion of production and distribution networks has led to an increased exploitation of people, which ultimately leads to more people turning to crime and black markets to make ends meet. Castells highlights that in the period of globalisation, global criminal economies account for $1 trillion of economic activity, while more recent estimates place the value of global crime at around about $2.5 trillion. If we can make a comparison, the UK's gross domestic product in 2019 was £2.1 trillion, or $2.8 trillion, and this shows us the scale of global crime. One factor in the rise of global crime has been increased global inequality. Whilst production and manufacturing of goods has spread to less developed nations, the increased demand for illegal goods has led to the emergence of black market industries such as the drug trade. For example, Afghanistan, the world's largest exporter of opium, has seen a resurgence in the drug trade in the post-9/11 era, while there are high levels of informal employment in the production of cocaine in Colombia, with estimates of 20% of the population engaged in the cultivation of cocaine. As with any business, the drug trade will look for areas of production, distribution and consumption, and will rely upon low-paid workers in these areas to produce, distribute and sell their product, all for a profit. Global conflicts have also seen an increase in the types of crime committed. The period of globalisation has led to increased amounts of international conflicts, particularly focused on the persecution of one ethnic group within that society. Rwanda, the Balkans and Myanmar are just some examples of approaches to ethnic cleansing and genocide, and these have had further impacts. This has led to increased migration and a rise in human trafficking of those desperate to escape conflicts. The war on terror can also be seen to impact on both the movement of people and on the trafficking of weapons to terrorist groups. Terrorist cells are often financed through money moved from one nation to another, utilising the deregulated financial markets. And there have been many allegations of state-sponsored terrorism during this period as well, and of course a growth in terrorist activities in Western Europe and other parts of the world such as Kenya, Nigeria, Turkey and Yemen. This conflict has existed for over 30 years and predates the attack on New York in 2001. Another reason for the rise in global crime has been the increased risk of late modernity. Ulrich Beck suggests that in the period of late modernity there has been the development of a global risk consciousness, not only linked to the environment and global conflicts, but also due to increased migration brought about by globalisation. This risk is often highlighted by the reporting of certain media sites and creates an unbalanced view of global migration that heightens fears and creates tensions between majority and minority ethnic groups. This can be evidenced by the widespread tensions between ethnic groups in areas such as Myanmar, in the Balkans in the early 1990s, and between Christians and Muslims in sub-Saharan Africa. It can also be evidenced in Western nations, particularly those with 24-hour rolling news coverage, creating moral panics about migration, and these are often resulting in conflicts between individuals. A final impact of globalisation that has led to more crime is the increased urbanisation and industrialisation that is linked to the spread of capitalism. Green and corporate crimes are on the increase, and this occurs as more corporations move their production bases from the West to the developing world. Many developing nations have largely rural populations in the pre-globalisation era, but with the development of industry there has been a growth of megacities to house workers for the transnational corporations. Often located near ports to enable easier transport of goods, These megacities attract people from across the nation who are looking for work. However, this often causes environmental problems due to the rapid growth, with air and water pollution in particular damaging the environment and the health of citizens. Furthermore, land that was once used for farming is now overused due to the demand for products, causing desertification, whilst green spaces become increasingly threatened by deforestation and species extinction, as the need for factories, timber and even grazing land for livestock takes precedent over the needs of the environment. In evaluating the impact of globalisation on crime, it's worth considering if these crimes are actually new. Many forms of crime seem to have increased due to globalisation, but they existed in one form or another prior to globalisation. Arms were trafficked between nations, particularly to conflicts in Ireland, South America and the Middle East prior to globalisation. In the global era, we may have a greater awareness of international crime due to the nature of the media, in particular the internet, and we may also be more aware of the impacts on UK society. For example, while green crimes are rarer in the UK due to environmental legislations, they have been shifted to areas of the world where there are less regulations, or where bribery and corruption is easier to commit. However, we are aware of the transgressive nature of green crime and how air pollution in Mexico can impact on the planet as a whole. We may have cleaner air, but the risk of green crime remains real. Similarly, while cybercrime is new, it is a new form of an older crime, fraud. Fraud existed on a more localised scale, with conmen and fraudsters being more likely to approach their victims face to face than over the internet in the era before globalisation. That concludes this Tutor to You Sociology topic video on crime in contemporary society, focusing on the reasons for global crime. Thanks for watching.